There have been a few games over the years, either somewhat or directly inspired by Army Men, but none have been quite so open about it as the Mean Green's Plastic Warfare. The title is dumb. The Green's are the good guys, so what's mean about them? But the game itself is pretty reminiscent of what Army Men might be if the series were still around today. Well, in some ways anyway. The Mean Greens is a multiplayer-only third-person shooter. The original release featured no real tutorial or offline play with bots, but those have thankfully since been added in updates. There's still no true single-player mode, though. It just has the exact same game modes as online, but with bots. I know that I'm in a minority of gamers in that I expect a true single-player offering with games, but that's especially true with Army Men games and those directly inspired by it. They're toys, and it's not technically an Army Men game. Other than green good, tan bad, you don't really have an established canon to worry about sticking to here. And the fact that they're toys in the real world gives you a ton of creative flexibility. I can't help but see the decision not to include any kind of a single-player mode as anything but lazy. As a multiplayer shooter, though, the Mean Greens is, for the most part, pretty good. Imagine Sarge's Heroes 2 multiplayer, but online in HD and at a much wider scale. The level designs are absolutely fantastic, and genuinely blew me away with how fun they were to fight in. The controls are okay, the aiming feels a little jerky, and while adjusting the aim sensitivity can help with that, it never feels quite as smooth or fluid as, say, Gears of War. The real problem I have with the game is the weapons. In most competitive online games, you get some basic weapons at the start, and as you play, you level up and gradually unlock either better weapons or upgrades for those weapons. The Mean Greens doesn't do that. There are 5 weapons: the M16 assault rifle, a sniper rifle, a shotgun, a bazooka, and a flamethrower, plus grenades, and you start off with everything. You do have finite ammo for each, but whenever you spawn, you have the whole arsenal. Nothing upgrades or anything either. Now, on the one hand, that does mean that new players aren't going to get spanked by veteran players purely because of a better equipment loadout. But on the other hand, that also means there's less incentive to keep playing. But having fun should be incentive enough! Well, yeah, it absolutely should, but as we all know from over 20 years of Call of Duty, our lizard brains are immensely gratified by arbitrary progression. Without XP or upgrades or unlocks or levels, the game just feels a little empty. Also, the grenades suck. They're about as effective as lighting an M80 firecracker and throwing it at someone in real life. You randomly get assigned to play as either a green soldier or a tan soldier in team-based games like Team Deathmatch or Capture the Flag, and that's cool. I am also a huge fan of the fact that in free-for-all matches, you're assigned a random color. Sometimes you're green or tan, but sometimes you're purple, sometimes you're red, so on and so forth. With no storyline or lore, that does lose a little of its coolness, but if you do what I did and just sort of mentally superimpose Army Men lore, where green, tan, blue, and gray are the major powers, but there are a lot of minor powers like purple, orange, red, cyan, etc., it does become a really neat aspect to the game. It doesn't make up for the so-so controls or the fact that 9 times out of 10, your default M16 is gonna be the best weapon in the game, but it is definitely a cool touch. The Mean Greens Plastic Warfare, for what it is a decent game. It's virtually impossible, at least from my experience, to find a match online these days. But fortunately, playing offline with bots is still totally doable, and it has the same core gameplay. It's a shame that the weapons are so unbalanced and the controls feel so sluggish and jerky, because that really holds it back from being a genuinely good game. If the controls were better, this game would be fantastic for those of us with nostalgia for the good old days of Army Men. With the controls what they are, though, it's stuck at decent. That's a shame, too, because the level design proves that a ton of care and effort were put into this game, just not enough into refining the controls. It's normally $10, which I think is a fair price, but it's important to know if you buy it that you're probably going to play mostly, if not exclusively, offline against bots. I definitely recommend it, even at full price, for fans of Army Men, because it's definitely a fun what-if for the series, to think what it would be like today. But for those who have no special love for the Army Men series, wait for one of the frequent sales, where it often drops to anywhere from $1 to $3. I have fun with this game, and I'm glad I've got it on my Switch, but this is not a game that's gonna wow anyone outside of the level design. My rating for the Mean Green's Plastic Warfare on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC is a C.